Okay, today we're here with Meena, and Meena is an Australian Shepherd, and she has a lot of fur, and he likes to keep it, and she's got a lot of undercoat and a lot of overcoat. However, I see her every 8 weeks like clockwork, so that helps manage this fur, but I want to show you what I do on board now to really cut my time and get even better results on a Shedex and an undercoat. And I used to do it this way in my shop, so I'm going to bring it back on board. Even though I've got my recirculator, I figured out how to incorporate my recirculator into this, so it's amazing. So the first thing I'm going to do is get her soaking wet, right? And I've got all my, I'm keeping my water down there, by the way, my water, for my recirculator. And I'm going to show you something. She's pretty clean anyway, but look at that water loop. So that water's real clean, so I'm not going to have to use much soap on her. Right back up here, thank you. So now she's nice and wet for me. I didn't use a couple gallons of water on that. Next thing I'm going to use is my plum wash on her, which is not very diluted because I can't, because it doesn't dilute well, but I'm going to get her sudsed up. I just want to get the wash all over her. I want to get the shampoo on her, get it down into that skin real good, get it all over her everywhere, because the next thing I'm going to do is work with a brush while she's in here. I used to do this after she was out and deal with all that fur on board, and then because of my recirculator, I didn't want to mess it up. So I figured out a way though around it, and this is it. So I'm just squirting soap, getting it on her everywhere that I'm going to be brushing, which is everywhere. And I want to start her out with a nice heavy load of it. Don't want to cheat her out here. I'm going to get a little bit of suds on that. I mean a little bit of water to create some suds. You'll like this because the way that the recirculator works too is it takes the soap and the bubbles capture the dirt, which is great. But that recirculator will cut us down. So here we go. As far as I'm concerned, she's soaked up enough. I'm going to use a grooming rake. Just a grooming rake. And what I want to do while she's soaked up, and this is the best way to clean her, right? Because I'm going to drag that soap back and forth also. And I'm going to drag that undercoat out. And she's liking this. She's like, oh, this feels pretty good, Angie. Because that skin of hers, right, she's got that thick coat. And that skin very rarely gets cleaned, touched. You know, anytime you're petting a thick coated dog like that, it's their top coat that gets all that affection. Their undercoat's just sitting there dying away, keeping them warm but dying off too. Okay, so that's what I got off so far. I'm going to go back. Well, you have to look again then, hang on. I want to get this back. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw a little more soap on this back side. I'm going to get her sudsed up just a tad. Again, back it up. I mean, scoot it up, girl. Scoot it up. And I'm going to come around. Remember these hips here. Anywhere that you got creases, folds, things like that, you're going to have friction, movement. You're going to have, am I too tight? No. She's like, just leave my booty alone. I prefer you didn't mess with that end. You don't mind. So I'm pulling it out. It looks like I'm dragging it kind of hard. I am. This is helping clean her fur at the same time as it's pulling that undercoat out. Now I'm going to go back the other direction. I want to get as much of this out of her in this bathtub because this is all getting dried afterwards. And when I'm drying it, all that fur, I don't want to get in your way, Luke. All that fur is going to be flying around my mobile. You see I have to wear a mask sometimes. And so then I got to deal with it all over in my mobile and flying through the air. And what's the point? When I can take the time right now, get it off of her in the tub. See how much more I'm getting? It's really sudsy, so it's hard to tell. I really don't want to throw that in my tub with my recirculator either. So I'm going to sit that up on top. And back we go again this way, Meena. Under that belly, that arm fold, remember? This is a good time for you to be able to inspect the collar line. Always important to inspect that collar line because owners have a tendency sometimes of leaving those collars on and they get abrasive on the skin. They rub the skin. Sometimes they're a little too tight or they have prongs on them. cause a little bit of skin breakdown around that collar line, and they don't know it. They don't know it. You're the one that catches that. Oh, thank you so much, Meena. So I want to show you that. I'm not sure if we need to tape any more of this. Well, let's just keep it going. We'll go with it. Okay, so I've got most of that off of this side that I'm going to mess with. That's Meena. Meena lost a loved one recently. She did. She lost a very loved one. She did. I'm getting around this collar really good. So we're going to go ahead and break, because all I'm going to do is the other side anyway, and we don't need to film that. You're seeing what I'm doing over here. Everywhere. Everywhere. Get her everywhere. Okay, Luke, go ahead and break.